My name is Tamara Mesa, and this is my story about surviving brain cancer. In May 2002, I was having some health situations. I was like sick every single week, and I was going to the doctor a lot. So I ended up going to the emergency room twice. And each time I would go to the doctor or the emergency room, they'd tell me weird things that I had. Mono, adult onset asthma, just all these crazy things. So we finally go to the emergency room the second time, and they said, oh yeah, thyroid, a little pill and it'll be fixed for your whole life. And David, my husband, was adamant. He wanted to make sure that they checked my brain, and he had a little heated discussion. He was like, you have to check your brain, and they didn't want to because they said they already found what was wrong. It was the thyroid, they said. And they finally did, and they found a brain tumor the size of a large lemon that was a grade 3 malignant tumor. It was large enough that they required emergency brain surgery the very next day. That next day, I had surgery, and I still remember, the things that I remember was running around my bed because I wanted to get an exercise, even to the last second. And they put me into the bed, and they were pushing me through the doors to go and have surgery. And I was like, can I just please walk to the room? And they said, no, they wouldn't even allow me to walk to my room. So I was like, and I jumped out of bed and I ran around the bed one last time to get my exercise in. After I get out of surgery, I was in ICU, and I had a very, very mean nurse, and she ended up spilling ice water all over me, so they had to change me really, really fast in a very non-movable way. They couldn't move me, but they had to change me still. And then I was like scared, so scared, and I was nervous, and it was very awful. And during that night, David and my dad were both sleeping outside of my hospital bedroom because they weren't allowed in. So I was all alone while I was sleeping in the hospital because they wouldn't let me get visitors at nighttime. So they were out in the waiting room. So in the middle of the night, they come in, we're so sorry, but we have to switch you. There was an accident, and we have to change you out of ICU, which I still needed to be in ICU, but they wouldn't let me be there because somebody else had to take my place. So they switched me, and just knowing that my family wasn't outside of the room made a whole big difference. So they switched me to a room, and on the way, before I got into the room, they gave me a couple of packages of earplugs, and they said, we're so sorry, but this is the last room in the whole hospital that's empty, and your roommate is sort of loud. Well, I get in there, and my roommate was screaming and yelling and in pain and in maybe craziness. I don't know, just the whole night long. So I put the earplugs in, and I could obviously still hear her because my sense of hearing was heightened after my surgery. To add to that screaming, I started twitching. My body was twitching all night long, shaking, twitching, trembling the whole night long, that I was so scared that I didn't know if I was dying or not. I thought I was dying, actually. And the nurse came in, and I asked her, I was like, please tell me what's going on. She's like, I don't know what's going on, but the doctor will tell you when he comes. What time does he come? Between 6 and 8 in the morning. It was like 2, 3 in the nighttime. So I had to wait like 4 or 5 hours before he came. And And so I begged her. I said, please, please, please don't leave me. I beg you. It was like I was so scared. I needed somebody to be by my side. And even the nurse said, I'm so sorry, honey, but I've got a whole entire hospital full of people just like you. I have to go do my job. And she left. So I was back with my screaming, yelling roommates while I'm twitching the whole time. And so I was all alone thinking that I was dying, and it was a very scary experience. And that was when I started to pray a lot, a lot. I prayed the whole entire night time. And that was when I felt Jesus Christ is the one who, he understands me. He's the only one that understands me. When nobody else is around or understands us, he is. He was there. He suffered for not only our sins, but for every ache and pain and situation that we've ever had to go through. And and so I sort of understood that he had to go through that in order for us to understand that we're not alone. We are not alone. So in that whole situation, I sort of felt like that was my tiny, 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 tiny understanding of my own life's Gethsemane. I sort of felt like that was my life's Gethsemane because, first of all, I was suffering terribly, thinking that I was on the verge of death, and nobody with me, and they're all sitting outside sleeping. Nobody there to really truly comfort me or to help me. Nobody. And anyway, I just feel sort of like that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through. I feel like I've been able to become much closer to Jesus Christ, knowing that he understood me. He's the only one that understood me, and it doesn't matter if we're completely alone because he'll always be there with us. So we're really not alone. I'm very grateful for all that I've gone through, even though it's been very challenging, because Jesus Christ's whole sacrifice has a much deeper meaning for me.